Have you ever imagined that a simple coin you might have spent without a second thought could actually be worth millions and turn into one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatic history? Well, today we dive into the fascinating world of the 1988 DUSA quarter dollar coin, a piece that has shaken the collecting community and stunned both experts and enthusiasts with its rumored face value of an astonishing $34 million. And this incredible figure is not just about the denomination stamped onto its surface, but rather the hidden stories, the minting errors, the die varieties, the historical context, and the mystery surrounding why such a coin has become a legendary symbol of rare wealth. And in this journey, we will not only explore why this particular coin stands apart from the millions of others struck at the Denver Mint in 1988, but also reveal how a seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece could transform into a life-changing discovery for anyone fortunate enough to stumble upon it. Because when you consider the enormous number of coins minted in that era, where billions of quarters were struck across various facilities, the idea that one specific issue could reach astronomical values due to mistakes and quirks of minting seems almost unbelievable. Yet this is exactly what makes the 1988 D quarter dollar so captivating and why collectors have placed it among the top rarities of modern American currency. And when we start looking closely at the coin, we notice that the Denver Mint mark itself sometimes appears distorted or doubled, a detail that may look like nothing at first glance, but can drastically change the value when identified by trained eyes, because doubling on the mint mark or on the inscriptions such as Liberty or I in God We Trust is considered one of the most dramatic and collectible errors in modern coinage. And in the case of the 1988 D quarter dollar, certain examples exist with striking variations in how the letters were impressed, leading to coins that fetch record prices at auction and beyond doubling. There are also instances of off-center strikes, where the design is not properly aligned with the planchet, resulting in a quarter that may have a portion of Washington's portrait missing or the reverse eagle shifted unnaturally, making these coins immediately recognizable and highly valuable. And what makes this even more interesting is that the Denver Mint in the late 1980s was producing at massive scale, often under pressure to keep up with circulation demands, meaning that occasional lapses in quality control resulted in errors slipping through undetected. And when such flawed coins enter circulation and are later discovered, they become not only rare collectibles, but historical artifacts capturing a moment when the minting process itself faltered. And collectors prize these pieces because they embody imperfection in a system designed for uniformity. And then there are die cracks and cuts, those raised lines or blobs on the surface of the coin caused by aging or damaged dies, which for the 1988 D quarter can appear across Washington's face or in the eagle's wings on the reverse, creating unique patterns that are never replicated exactly the same way, making each coin almost a one-of-a-kind rarity. And the allure of such features cannot be understated because they transform ordinary quarters into treasures worth thousands, and in extreme cases, when combined with other errors, can lead to valuations soaring into millions. And imagine finding one of these in your change drawer or an old collection passed down from family. It would mean holding a piece not just of American history, but of immense financial potential. And that is why stories of lucky finds constantly make headlines in the numismatic world, fueling the legend of the 1988 D quarter dollar. And another aspect that makes this coin fascinating is the transitional nature of the 1980s coinage period, where changes in die design, small tweaks in engraving, and subtle shifts in how coins were struck can result in transitional errors, where coins exhibit features from previous or subsequent years that should not exist together. And in 1988 specifically, there were instances where reverse dies intended for different issues were mistakenly paired with the obverse, creating what collectors call mule errors, which are some of the rarest and most valuable mistakes ever made by the U.S. Mint. And these anomalies can send the value of a quarter skyrocketing far beyond its face value, sometimes into the millions, which explains why the 1988 D coin in particular has been rumored to carry a valuation reaching $34 million. Not because every example is worth that, but because the rarest and most spectacular errors among them could command prices never before imagined. And while many people might dismiss such claims as myths, auction records repeatedly show that rare U.S. coins once thought ordinary can indeed fetch mind-boggling sums. And every time one of these stories emerges, the legend of the 1988 D quarter grows stronger. And it is not just about the errors, it is also about the condition, because coin grading plays a vital role in determining value. And if a 1988 D quarter surfaces in pristine mint state condition, with lustrous surfaces, sharp details, and no wear, then its value automatically increases many times over. And when that condition is paired with a dramatic error, the result is nothing short of numismatic gold, and collectors and investors alike flock to auctions, eager to secure a coin that might never appear again in their lifetimes. And all of this builds into the mystique of the 1988 D quarter dollar, transforming it from a simple 25-cent coin into a cultural and financial phenomenon. And even beyond auctions, the stories told about these coins inspire countless treasure hunts, where people dig through old jars of coins, search through inherited collections, and even examine change received from everyday transactions, hoping to stumble upon one of these fabled rarities. And this is where the 1988 D quarter truly becomes legendary, because its tale is not only about wealth, but about the thrill of possibility, the dream that anyone, anywhere, could be holding a fortune in their hand without even realizing it. And as more information circulates online and in collector circles, the coin continues to gain notoriety, becoming a viral topic that ignites curiosity in both seasoned numismatists and casual coin enthusiasts. And as we unravel all these layers, the errors, the conditions, the minting history, and the human fascination with rarity, it becomes clear why the 1988 D quarter dollar, with its rumored $34 million valuation, stands out as one of the most captivating coins in modern history. And as you think about the sheer magnitude of that number, consider how a small piece of copper-nickel alloy can hold such immense value simply because of imperfections and circumstance. And that is the magic of numismatics, turning everyday objects into priceless treasures. So the next time you come across an old quarter, do not overlook it, because it might be the key to unimaginable wealth. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible story of the 1988 D quarter dollar and want to keep discovering the secrets behind coins worth big money, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more fascinating journeys into the hidden riches of history. Next, 1995 P quarter dollar coin. Imagine holding in your hand what looks like an ordinary piece of pocket change, a simple 1995 P USA quarter dollar that most people would overlook without a second thought. Yet hidden within that small silver-colored coin is a story of staggering value, a history-defining narrative that transforms it from a mere 25 cents into an astonishing $26 million treasure, a figure so massive that it leaves both coin collectors and casual observers in awe. And today, we're going to unravel why this particular quarter stands apart as one of the most valuable coins in history, how tiny details and seemingly minor production quirks elevated its worth, and what lessons it holds for anyone who has ever fished through a jar of spare change hoping to stumble upon fortune. Because the world of numismatics is filled with tales of mistakes turned miracles, of errors that should have doomed a coin to obscurity but instead launched it into the realm of legend. And the 1995 P quarter is no exception, beginning its journey at the Philadelphia Mint during a time when billions of coins were produced with machine precision. Yet even within that industrial scale, anomalies emerged that caught the sharp eye of collectors, whether double dies that altered the sharpness of the inscriptions, slight off-center strikes that left visible distortions, or planchet flaws that added irregularities no machine could have foreseen. Each one of these elements contributes to the mystique surrounding this coin. And the most incredible part is that these flaws didn't just exist. They survived circulation. They endured through decades of handling and storage until collectors realized the historical significance of what they were seeing. And in this case, the 1995 P quarter became not just a piece of everyday commerce, but a talisman of numismatic fortune, with whispers spreading across collector communities that one specimen had been valued at $26 million, a price tag not only fueled by rarity but by the cultural phenomenon that coins like this create. Because in the world of collecting, value is never just about material composition. It's about story, it's about provenance, it's about the thrill of knowing that something so ordinary could hide such extraordinary wealth. And when you dig deeper into the coin itself, you find that the Philadelphia Mint mark, P, carries its own weight. as the Philadelphia Mint has a long-standing history of producing quarters that later become some of the most studied and sought-after pieces in American coinage, whether due to its immense production runs or the occasional lapse that leads to rare minting errors. And in the case of the 1995 P quarter, rumors suggest that both double-die obverse errors and weak strikes played a role in elevating its allure, with the motto, "In God We Trust," or the word liberty, sometimes appearing with ghostly doubling, faint shadowing that collectors crave, while others point to die breaks or cuds that left strange raised lumps of metal on the coin's surface, anomalies that transform what should have been flaws into badges of distinction. Because in this world, perfection is common, but imperfection is priceless. And when you think about the sheer scale of quarters minted in 1995, hundreds of millions, it's mind-blowing to consider how few of these error coins could have slipped through the cracks, which is exactly what makes them so valuable today. For scarcity is the lifeblood of collectible markets, and once word spread of one being appraised at $26 million, the legend only grew, cementing its place as one of the most talked-about coins of modern American history, inspiring both seasoned numismatists and everyday dreamers to check their change with renewed vigor. Because who wouldn't want to be the person who finds a coin worth more than a mansion? A coin capable of rewriting one's financial destiny. And this fascination is more than just greed. It's about connecting to history, about realizing that the things we take for granted often hold stories larger than ourselves. Because every coin is not just metal, it's a record of its time, a testament to American design and production, and a silent witness to decades of economic and cultural change. So when the 1995 P quarter ascended to this mythical $26 million valuation, it wasn't just about rarity, it was about symbolism, about the idea that even the humblest objects can hide immense worth. A reminder that hidden treasure exists not just in pirate tales, but in the very pockets of ordinary people. And that is why collectors, historians, and treasure hunters all look to coins like this one with such reverence, analyzing the subtle shine of the metal, the crispness or weakness of the strike, the alignment of the die, the possibility of an off-metal planchet, because each clue can add another layer to the story, another justification for its astronomical price. And what's remarkable is how the myth of the 1995 P quarter continues to spread, transcending numismatic circles and entering mainstream curiosity, sparking viral discussions, social media buzz, and countless YouTube videos like this one dedicated to dissecting its tale, proving that even in a digital age where currency itself is becoming intangible, the romance of physical coins still captures hearts and imaginations. And the idea that one coin among billions could be worth $26 million makes people believe in miracles. Again, makes them believe that fortune is hiding in plain sight. So the next time you empty your pockets or sort through an old coin jar, remember this story. Remember that within your grasp could lie history disguised as change. And that's why this 1995 P USA quarter dollar is not just a coin. It is a legend, a fortune, and a symbol of hope that something extraordinary may yet be found in the ordinary. So if you enjoyed diving into the fascinating world of this unbelievable $26 million treasure and want to hear more stories of coins and collectibles that could change lives, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us on this journey into the incredible hidden wealth of history. Next, 1997 P quarter dollar coin. Today, we turn our full attention to the remarkable story of the 1997 P quarter dollar coin, a seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change minted in Philadelphia that has become the center of discussion, speculation, and astonishment because of its jaw-dropping valuation in the world of numismatics, where certain error coins and minting anomalies can elevate a coin's worth from a humble 25 cents to an astronomical fortune. And in the case of the 1997 P quarter, some rare examples have been reported to carry a value of up to $17 million due to their unique blend of mistakes, production oddities, and historical importance that intrigue collectors and investors who understand that the tiniest imperfection in a minting process can lead to a coin becoming not only collectible but legendary. So let's begin to unravel what makes this coin so special, starting with its background, the minting process of the 1990s, and how a simple production line anomaly can change financial history forever. because the Philadelphia Mint in 1997 produced millions upon millions of quarter dollars featuring the portrait of George Washington on the obverse, an iconic design that had already been in place for decades since 1932 when it was first introduced to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. But during the 1990s, coin production was not immune to technical issues, die deterioration, planchet flaws, and misalignments. And when we consider how many coins pass through the presses daily, the probability of mint errors naturally existed. However, what sets the 1997 P quarter apart is not just that errors occurred, but that some of these errors were so rare, so dramatic, and so visually distinct that they transformed the coin from being common pocket change into a coveted rarity worth millions. And one of the most well-known types of mistakes associated with this issue is the double die error, where the image, often Washington's profile or the inscriptions such as "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or the year 1997, appeared doubled because of misalignment during the hubbing process. And while doubling errors are fascinating enough, in certain 1997 P quarters the doubling is extreme and visible even to the naked eye, amplifying their desirability to collectors who thrive on dramatic variations. But the tale of the 1997 P quarter doesn't end there, because other striking anomalies have been documented, such as off-center strikes where the coin's design is not properly aligned with the planchet, leaving portions of the coin blank or distorted, and the further off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes, with examples ranging from slightly misaligned to dramatically off-centered pieces where nearly half the design is missing. And beyond this, there are errors involving clipped planchets where part of the metal blank was cut improperly, resulting in a coin with a crescent-shaped indentation, and these mistakes, when combined with the recognizable P mint mark, add another layer of scarcity. Then there are die cracks and cuds which occur when the dies themselves begin to wear or fracture, leaving raised lines or blobs of extra metal across the coin's surface that create visually striking and utterly unique versions of the quarter. And some 1997 P quarters have been found with die breaks stretching across Washington's face, across the rim, or into the reverse design depicting the heraldic eagle, which in itself is an iconic symbol of American strength. And collectors adore these accidents of production because each one is unique, almost like a fingerprint of the minting process, ensuring that no two error coins are exactly the same, thus raising both intrigue and value. And when we think about the potential combinations of these errors on a single coin, we begin to understand why some collectors would bid astronomical sums to own them. But why specifically would the price tag of $17 million come into play for the 1997 P quarter? And the answer lies in the perfect storm of rarity, desirability, and legend. Because in the world of coin collecting, the value of an error coin is not just determined by the error itself, but also by the survival rate. How many such coins escaped the mint undetected? How many entered circulation? And how many survived decades without being melted, damaged, or lost? And when a particular specimen embodies multiple dramatic errors or is graded at a nearly flawless mint state condition, the value climbs exponentially. For example, a 1997 P quarter with an extreme double die obverse, an off-center strike, and a full mint luster preserved in near-perfect condition by a collector or by sheer luck could easily command staggering sums at auction, because it is not just a coin but a piece of history that cannot be replicated. And collectors, especially high-net-worth investors and institutions, are willing to pay premium amounts for such irreplaceable pieces. But there is also the human psychology behind why error coins command such fascination. Because when people look at a coin like the 1997 P quarter with dramatic flaws, they see not just money but a tangible mistake from a prestigious institution like the U.S. Mint. And in an age where machines are expected to produce flawless perfection, an error coin becomes a reminder of human imperfection, of the unpredictability of mechanical processes, and of the rarity that comes from chance, making them akin to modern-day treasures. And this psychological connection, combined with the thrill of hunting through rolls of coins or inheriting old collections in the hope of finding such a rarity, fuels the high values attached to them. And the story of the $17 million valuation is tied to auction records, collector rumors, and speculative hype that elevate the coin into the realm of myth, where even casual hobbyists begin to search their change jars, their old wallets, or They're family heirlooms just in case a 1997 P quarter with such extraordinary errors lies hidden, because for most people finding such a coin would be the equivalent of winning the lottery, transforming an ordinary day into a life-changing event. And when you consider the minting technology of the 1990s, we must also explore the possible technical causes behind such errors, because dies in that era were still susceptible to misalignments, doubling during hubbing, and improper striking pressures. And the planchets could have microscopic imperfections from the rolling and blanking process, leading to laminations where parts of the metal peel away, or improper alloys that create off-colored coins with strange visual tones, all of which become collectible anomalies. So the 1997 P quarter is not just one coin, but a whole spectrum of possibilities where each error variation carries its own story, its own rarity, and its own market value. And when you combine this with the culture of coin collecting in the 1990s and beyond, you realize that the coin lives at the intersection of history, economics, and passion, making it one of the most intriguing coins of its era. And enthusiasts know that part of the fun is not just in owning the coin, but in knowing its backstory, in telling the tale of how a quarter meant to be ordinary became extraordinary, how a minting flaw became a fortune, and how a small piece of metal could carry such enormous symbolic and financial weight. So when we talk about the 1997 P quarter being worth $17 million, we are not merely talking about a monetary figure, but about the embodiment of rarity, luck, and the deep human love for stories hidden in plain sight. And as we explore deeper, one must also consider the grading system used by professional coin certification services, where coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state perfection. And a 1997 P quarter with major errors preserved in mint state 67, 68, or even 69 condition would be virtually priceless due to the minuscule odds of such a piece surviving uncirculated and error-laden. And when professional graders assign such a coin its certification, it suddenly transcends into legend, becoming the type of coin that makes headlines, ignites bidding wars, and establishes itself as one of the crown jewels of modern numismatics. And so, as you imagine the thrill of coming across such a coin, consider the countless hands that passed it by, the millions of quarters minted in Philadelphia that year, and the tiny handful that slipped through with such spectacular mistakes, waiting for a keen-eyed collector to recognize their potential. Because ultimately the story of the 1997 P quarter is not just about money, but about discovery, about turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, and about the thrill that continues to drive treasure hunters across the globe. So the next time you have a handful of change, remember that within those coins could lie a fortune, a story, and a legacy, just like the 1997 P quarter with its $17 million mystique. And if you enjoyed this deep exploration into the world of rare coins and the captivating saga of this error-filled treasure, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin stories, and join us on future adventures where history and fortune meet in the palm of your hand. Next, 1998 P quarter dollar coin. Today we are going to unravel the mysterious story behind the 1998 P quarter dollar coin, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike because of its astonishing estimated value of $12 million, thanks to its unique errors and mistakes that make it not just a simple piece of circulated currency, but rather a legendary artifact of modern numismatic history. And as we explore the details of why this particular quarter is so rare, we will uncover the various errors, minting mishaps, and possibilities that contribute to its incredible worth and the feverish demand from collectors worldwide. So get ready, because this is not just about a coin. This is about the journey of how a seemingly ordinary piece of metal transforms into one of the most sought-after treasures in American coinage. Now, when we talk about the 1998 P quarter, it is important to set the stage with a bit of context, minted at the Philadelphia Mint. The P mint mark signifying its origin. This coin came at the end of an era right before the United States launched the immensely popular 50-state quarters program in 1999, which means the 1998 P quarter is one of the last coins bearing the traditional eagle reverse design before the dramatic change, making it historically significant in itself. But what sets this specific coin apart and propels its value into the millions are the striking and rare errors it carries, errors that go beyond the Minor misstrikes we sometimes see in circulation and instead fall into the realm of extraordinary anomalies that collectors dream of. One of the primary features that has been reported about the ultra-rare 1998 P quarter is the presence of a dramatic double die error, particularly visible on the obverse side, where George Washington's profile shows subtle but noticeable doubling along the features of the eye, the lips, and the motto, "In God We Trust." This doubling, though often faint, becomes a dramatic point of interest because it was not intended and signals a mechanical mishap during the die hubbing process. And unlike more common doubling errors, the rarity and clarity of this one are what elevate its desirability. Alongside this doubling comes another peculiar feature, off-center strikes. And in some extremely rare cases, collectors have found 1998 P quarters that were struck as much as 10 to 20% off-center, leaving part of the design missing and exposing the blank planchet space at the rim, which might seem like a mistake that renders a coin defective, but in the world of coin collecting, such dramatic off-center strikes are treasures because they represent flaws that slip past the rigorous quality control systems of the mint. And the larger the off-center percentage while still showing the date and mint mark, the higher the value, making these pieces prized possessions. Another factor contributing to the mythical $12 million price tag attached to one reported 1998 P quarter is the possibility of a transitional error. Now, transitional errors occur when a coin is struck on the wrong type of planchet, often left over from a previous or upcoming change in design or metal composition. And in the case of 1998, while quarters were supposed to be struck on the standard clad composition planchets made of copper-nickel layers bonded to a copper core, there have been claims that certain 1998 P quarters were mistakenly struck on experimental or leftover planchets, possibly even intended for foreign coinage or from earlier testing for the state quarters program. Such a mistake would mean the coin's weight, thickness, or metallic resonance when tested would differ from normal, and this anomaly alone could drive collectors into a frenzy because transitional errors are among the most desirable and expensive finds in numismatics. In addition to these major errors, some reported varieties of the 1998 P quarter include broad strikes where the coin was struck without the collar that normally contains its edges, leading to a stretched or expanded flan that gives the coin a warped, oversized appearance. And though it may look unusual, to seasoned collectors it is another marker of rarity, further adding to its market appeal. Another incredible possibility is the existence of double strike errors in which the coin was struck twice by the press, leaving ghostly, overlapping images of Washington's profile or the eagle reverse. And when this happens, dramatically off-center, the error becomes visually stunning and exceedingly rare, pushing its potential value even higher. But perhaps the most mysterious tale surrounding the 1998 P quarter involves alleged experimental designs and test strikes conducted before the launch of the 50 state quarters program. Some collectors speculate that special dies or altered prototypes may have been tested on regular 1998 planchets, leaving behind coins that bear microscopic differences in design, such as changes in the lettering, spacing, or details of the eagle feathers. And if authenticated, these prototypes would be essentially one-of-a-kind relics that carry enormous historical importance. Imagine owning the coin that bridges the era of the traditional eagle reverse and the revolutionary state-themed series. This alone would justify a multi-million-dollar price tag. Now the question arises, why $12 million? Why would a single quarter be worth more than luxury estates, high-end sports cars, or even some famous artworks? The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, demand, and story. For a coin to fetch such astronomical amounts, it has to be unique or nearly unique. It has to represent a piece of history, and it has to ignite the passions of elite collectors who are willing to pay almost any price to own what no one else has. The 1998 P quarter, with its alleged combination of doubling, off-center strike, possible transitional planchet, and maybe even prototype design, embodies all those factors. When you add in the allure of being the last traditional design before the state quarters, its historical weight multiplies. Furthermore, coins like this are often never sold on open markets, but rather change hands privately among the wealthiest collectors. And those transactions, shrouded in secrecy, create legends that fuel speculation and drive up perceived value. Now let us think about the process of how such errors could have happened in the Philadelphia Mint in 1998. The Mint at that time was producing millions upon millions of quarters, with massive demand for circulating coinage. Errors, though rare, were inevitable. A hubbing misalignment could create doubling on Washington's features. A misfeed could cause off-center strikes. Leftover planchets could accidentally enter presses intended for quarters, and in the rush of production, quality control may have missed a few anomalies. The fact that even one such coin could survive and make its way into circulation, or be pulled from the presses unnoticed, adds to the mythology. Imagine someone receiving this coin in their pocket change back in 1998, perhaps using it to pay for a soda, unaware that it might one day be valued at $12 million. That sense of hidden treasure lurking in ordinary change is what makes coin collecting such a thrilling pursuit, and this thrill drives people to examine their coins closely, dreaming of uncovering the next big discovery. But beyond the technicalities and errors, the 1998 P quarter story symbolizes something greater. It symbolizes how imperfections can create beauty and value, how mistakes can become treasures, and how history often hides in plain sight, tucked away in small details. When collectors and historians study such coins, they are not just cataloging anomalies. They are uncovering stories of human oversight, industrial processes, and cultural shifts in currency. And that is why these coins matter. Now, in the grand scheme of things, the $12 million figure associated with the 1998 P quarter may sound unbelievable to some, and indeed skeptics might question whether any coin from the modern era could command such sums. Yet history shows us that unique error coins have broken records at auction, selling for millions. And as long as rarity, story, and demand align, even a quarter minted in 1998 can become a legendary piece of wealth. What collectors need to remember is that every detail counts, from weight and thickness to strike anomalies and design varieties. So if you ever come across a 1998 P quarter, take a close look, examine the lettering, check the alignment, weigh it, and who knows, you may just be holding a piece of history worth millions. And with that thrilling possibility, we wrap up this incredible journey into the world of the 1998 P quarter dollar, a coin born from errors and mistakes, yet elevated to legendary status, proving once again that in the smallest places we can find the greatest treasures. Thank you for joining us on this adventure into numismatic wonder. And if you enjoyed uncovering this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing coin tales and hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. Last, today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating, unexpected, and jaw-dropping stories in the world of coin collecting, a story about a coin that at first glance looks just like the pocket change you might spend at a vending machine or toss into a tip jar. Yet this very coin, the 1997 P quarter dollar, has been valued by collectors and enthusiasts at an astonishing $8 million due to its extremely rare and unusual errors and mistakes that make it one of the most desirable pieces of modern U.S. coinage history. And in this video, we are going to explore not just the surface details of this incredible coin, but also the entire backstory, the minting process that led to its anomalies, the different types of mint errors that could exist on the 1997 P quarter, and the possibilities and reasons that have elevated it to such extraordinary value. While also touching on the history of the U.S. Mint at Philadelphia during that era, the massive popularity of quarter collecting both before and after the statehood series, and how a tiny error that escapes the eyes of millions of mint workers and coin handlers can end up changing the fate of one single piece of currency forever. So buckle up as we unravel the mystery of why this 1997 P quarter can command such a massive price tag, and why collectors across the globe whisper its story like legend passed down in coin clubs and numismatic circles. Because what makes this coin so valuable is not just its age or its design, but the combination of multiple factors like double dies, off-center strikes, die clashes, broad strikes, planchet errors, missing elements, and striking anomalies, all of which contribute to the mystique that surrounds it. And before we dig into the specifics, let's paint the picture of the year 1997 itself, the last year before the iconic 50-state quarters program began. Meaning coins struck in this year were part of the final stretch of the traditional Washington quarter design before collectors were hit with the frenzy of state quarter collecting, which also means far fewer people paid attention to keeping pristine examples of the 1997p issue since it was considered just another ordinary coin. Yet ironically, it is this very oversight that allowed extremely rare mint errors to slip by and survive in circulation before sharp-eyed collectors began realizing what they had in hand. And when we look closer at the Philadelphia Mint, which struck hundreds of millions of these coins, we understand that the sheer volume of production almost guaranteed mistakes would occur, but out of millions, only a handful would contain the types of dramatic errors that send prices into the millions. And one of the most discussed possibilities is the existence of a dramatic double die obverse, where Washington's profile, particularly the inscriptions like Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1997, may appear doubled to the naked eye, a striking visual error that immediately adds tremendous value, since doubling represents a fundamental mistake at the die-making stage. And collectors know that double dies are among the most coveted errors in all of numismatics. But another powerful error seen in some 1997p quarters is the off-center strike, where the coin design is not properly aligned with the blank planchet, leaving portions of the coin's surface blank and misaligned. An error that can range from minor to extreme, with extreme versions often valued in the tens of thousands or more. Yet if one specimen displayed a dramatic off-center strike combined with other errors like partial collar strikes or rotated dies, it would skyrocket in value. And then we must consider broad strike errors, where the retaining collar fails to hold the blank in place, causing the design to spread out unnaturally across the surface, leaving an oddly shaped, larger than normal coin that immediately catches attention. And when combined with missing elements like a partially missing reeded edge, such coins become almost priceless. But the 1997p quarter has another layer of intrigue because of known planchet errors from that decade, such as coins struck on improperly prepared blanks, or even coins accidentally struck on the wrong planchet entirely, meaning a quarter design might be struck on a nickel or dime blank, or even a foreign coin blank that happened to be in the minting equipment. And such a mistake could easily turn an ordinary-looking coin into one of the rarest finds of all time, with some wrong planchet quarters selling for hundreds of thousands, making it no surprise that a perfect storm of errors could push the price to millions. And when we add to this the possibility of die cracks, cuds, and clashes, where dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like imprints on subsequent coins, we begin to see why the 1997p quarter has such legendary status. Because it is not just one error that makes it valuable, but the theoretical combination of multiple, dramatic errors all happening on a single coin, and collectors thrive on these once-in-a-lifetime anomalies, treating them as the crown jewels of their collections. But let us not forget the historical context, as the Washington quarter itself had been in production since 1932, with countless billions made. Yet it is only a handful of specific years and mint marks that hold the key to immense value. And the 1997p fits right in with this lineage as the last of a dying era before the explosion of collecting interest in statehood quarters, which means very few people bothered to hoard error coins from that year, creating extreme rarity in high-grade specimens. And this is why when a perfectly preserved 1997p error quarter surfaces, it becomes a lightning rod of attention at auction houses, coin shows, and private sales, with bidding wars driving prices through the roof. As each collector knows the chances of ever seeing another like it are slim to none, and beyond just the mechanical errors, there is the question of rarity and grade, because error coins that survive in uncirculated or mint state condition are exponentially rarer, with many errors being damaged or worn before collectors identify them, making pristine examples worth astronomical sums. And this rarity is compounded by the fact that Philadelphia minted coins often lack the dramatic flair of other mints. So when a dramatic Philadelphia error emerges, it shocks the numismatic community, sparking viral stories, magazine articles, and social media buzz, which all feed into the coin's mystique and perceived value. And so the 1997p quarter becomes not just a piece of metal but a legend, a story, a tangible connection to the fallibility of the minting process and the thrill of discovery, with each error telling a story of how human oversight, machine malfunction, and pure chance combine to create a multi-million-dollar rarity. And as we explore these stories, we begin to understand why collectors, are willing to pay $8 million for one because it represents the ultimate dream, turning pocket change into a fortune, proving that treasure still hides in plain sight. And so the possibilities that make this coin valuable extend beyond technical errors to the psychology of collecting itself, the drive for uniqueness, the hunger for owning something no one else has, the bragging rights of being the custodian of a coin that exists in the whispers of collectors, but almost never in reality. And it is this dream, as much as the physical coin itself, that inflates its value, as demand outpaces supply by unimaginable margins. And this is why stories of lucky finds, of people discovering these rare quarters in circulation, spread like wildfire, fueling more searches, more hunts, and more fascination, creating a cycle where the legend of the 1997 P quarter grows larger with each passing year, making it not just an $8 million coin, but a symbol of the hidden treasures still lurking in everyday currency. And as we bring this deep dive to a close, I want to remind you that the journey through the world of rare coins is as thrilling as it is unpredictable. And the story of the 1997 P quarter proves that even in modern times, incredible errors can slip through and create once-in-a-generation treasures. So always check your change carefully, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune in your hand. And if you enjoyed this fascinating journey into the mystery and value of the 1997 P quarter dollar, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for more incredible stories about rare coins worth big money. Because who knows, the next treasure might just be hiding in your pocket.